So you just arrived in Bali. Welcome, or selamat datang as they say here in Indonesia. If you want to survive and thrive in the island of the gods, here's a crash course on what you need to know to get by, whether you're planning on staying for a few months or a few years. Hey guys, I'm Adrian Field. If you're new to this channel and you've just found me from this video, I've been living here in Bali for the past 3 years as an expat. I've learned so much in that time. Honestly, it feels like a lifetime, especially since I haven't even left the island in 2 years during this corona pandemic. But if you already follow me, then you know me. You know that I am still going through this crippling situation, and other than that, I can't complain too much. But in this video today, I'm going to give you all of the crash course tips, tricks, and everything that you need to know if you have just landed in Bali/Indonesia and are planning to stay here either as an expat or a digital nomad or whatever the case is. All of the things that it took me 3 years to learn, and all of the things that I wish I had known right from day one when I got here. All right, so the absolute very first thing that you're gonna do as soon as you land at the airport is get an Indonesian SIM. They actually still probably, I don't know, I haven't been to the airport in 2 years, but when I was last at the airport, they had kiosks where you could get a SIM right then and there. I recommend Telkomsel. I've been using them for the whole time I've been here, so I've actually just had one phone number, and having an Indonesian phone number is really important because it will integrate with all of the other kinds of apps and things that make your life easier here. Another thing to note actually is that nobody calls one another on the phone here. Everybody uses WhatsApp, so I think most people nowadays are pretty familiar with WhatsApp. I mean, I've been living internationally for a long time, so I've been using WhatsApp for a decade, but everybody here in Indonesia uses WhatsApp to communicate. All the businesses, they have a WhatsApp number. But anyway, Telkomsel I think is a really good choice for a SIM provider. They have pretty fast speeds, and for a data package, which is all you need since nobody calls, I pay 100,000 rupiah per month, which is literally $7 a month. Can you believe that? So my whole cell phone plan costs $7 a month. When I used to live in the United States and I had a T-Mobile plan, I paid over $100 a month for some stupid plan. So one of the beauties about living in Bali, very cheap cell service. All right, the next thing that you're going to want to do even before you leave the airport is download Grab and Gojek. This is like the Uber or the Lyft if you're from America or Europe of Indonesia. So Gojek is actually the Indonesian company, and Grab, I believe they are based from Singapore, but they have operations around Southeast Asia. I personally use Gojek for just about everything. So Gojek, you can either hire a motorbike driver and sit on the back of their bike, which I never do because I have my own bike, so why would I do that except for now that I can't ride? Or you can order a car from them. They also do delivery of just about anything, and then furthermore, you use your Grab or your Gojek app to order food. So all of the restaurants are on there. It's like the Uber Eats. You can scroll the menus, and you know, that's what I am surviving on these days since I can't leave my house. It's so simple, it's so cheap, and it is really very convenient. Also, obviously, if you download it as soon as you land in the airport, then you avoid the kind of taxi mafia who are going to overcharge you. I may now get attacked by the taxi mafia, but I think it's been so long now in Bali with Grab and Gojek that it's just an accepted thing, and everybody knows you can get a Grab and a Gojek right from the airport. So that is how I get around town if I'm not on my Vespa, if I need to go a long distance. You know what, another great thing about Grab/Gojek, they even can help you move out. Every time I moved out of my house to a new place, you can get what's called Grab Box or Go Box, and literally get movers. So they are the app that you need to do just about everything in Indonesia. So another thing that's important is that when you plan to come to Indonesia, if you're going to ride a motorbike, you want to do so legally. And that means that either you have an international driver's permit. Mine is so beat up and old because I've been here a really long time, and this is from 2018. Or look at this fancy thing. I actually have an Indonesian driver's license. So in order to get this, I think it has to do with potentially having a certain type of visa. I don't know if you can get one as a tourist, but if you have an agent, they can help you. You go to the police station, fill out some paperwork, pay some money, And then there you go, you're legal to drive, because there are random police checkpoints at times, and if you get pulled over, you want to have the correct documentation. Also, I think it matters in terms of health insurance that you get into an accident, for example, and you're not legally licensed to drive here, then they may deny you some benefits. So you want to go about it the legal way. Either you come here with your IDP, which you do in your home country. In the USA, you go to a AAA, you just pay some money. Actually, in order to get one that covers you for a motorbike, I had to take a motorbike driving course in Redneck, Florida. That was a whole fun weekend, but I actually learned how to drive properly like a real motorcycle, not just a scooter. So either you get your IDP and you come here, they're usually valid for 1 year, or you can go ahead and get your Indonesian driver's license. All right, so the next thing that you're gonna wanna do in order to really integrate your life fully here is to get an Indonesian bank account. Now, this is going to depend on what type of visa you have arrived here with. If you are on what's called like a business visa, I think it's B212 or something like that, which is the one that's, it used to be valid for 2 months, and then you like leave the country and you can come back in 2 months, or like it was valid for 1 year, but for a 2-month maximum. A bunch of people right now, like these nomads, are on that type of visa. So if you have that, or if you have a social visa, which is valid for 6 months, then you can get a bank account with certain banks like Permata. My first bank account was with Danamon. I actually think Danamon is a pretty decent bank. They have a good app that comes with an English interface. So they were fine, and all you need generally is like a sponsor letter. So any Indonesian can, especially if they already bank at that bank, just write you an introduction letter or connect you to their banker. A lot of these things happen interpersonally. So when I first signed up for my Danamon account, that banker literally came to my house and helped me set up the bank. So it's not even like you have to be rich VIP for the banker to come to your house and help you set up. Now, if you have a Kitas or you have a longer stay residence permit, then you can get what I would deem as a better bank account, like for example BCA, which is now what I use for my business and my personal accounts. BCA, even though their website and their app look like they were made in 2001 and never updated, they have really good integrations with basically all of the kinds of things that you would want to be doing here, whether it's to pay your electric bill or to top up your phone credit or to pay for Gojek and Grab and all of this stuff. It's really easy. It just kind of integrates with the bank. So that's why an account with BCA is pretty good, and also they have ATMs like everywhere, whereas the other smaller banks like Danamon or Permata, they don't have as many ATMs. So again, BCA would be like a slightly more advanced bank because also their app doesn't come in English, so you have to have a general like decent sense of Indonesian to be able to even work it. Okay, so Transferwise, let me talk about getting your money into Indonesia and into your Indonesian bank account. So I have been using Transferwise now for many years. I think everybody knows about Transferwise. They've actually changed their name to Wise, but I still can't get that through my head that they're called Wise now. And it's really cheap and easy to send money from, in my case, my American bank account into the Indonesian bank account. What is actually so surprising to me is that it is literally instant. Like it takes 3 seconds for the money to appear into your Indonesian bank account, whereas when I even make a transfer in America from my US bank account to someone else's bank account, it takes several days. Like, what's up with that? How are we able to get money faster across the world versus in the United States you would have to pay like a ton of money for an instant wire transfer? I don't understand the magic behind Wise and how they're able to do this specifically for Indonesia, but I am very grateful and appreciative. It works really well. You just pay a few dollars per transfer. And the reason that I prefer to do it this way, for example, is one, I mean, I feel that my money is more secure in my US account, and so every time I need money, I just transfer it into my Indonesian business or my Indonesian bank account, you know, to pay for things as needed. So that works out really well, and everybody should have Wise at this point, especially if you have any kind of international business and you need to accept multi-currencies. Wise is really the way to go.
Di mana sepeda kamu?
Where is your bicycle?
Saya tiba dengan sepeda motor.
Saya tiba dengan sepeda motor. Voila! Download Duolingo. So this is the app that I use to learn Bahasa Indonesia, and I can tell you that from my experience of speaking 4 other languages, Bahasa Indonesia I think is the easiest language in the world to learn if you already know the Roman alphabet, which means if you already speak English or French or Spanish or any other Romance language that uses the same alphabet, Bahasa Indonesia is so simple. So basically, first of all, there's only 100,000 words in Bahasa Indonesia. In English, there's over 1 million. If you learn maybe 300 words in Indonesian, that's pretty much enough to do and say what you would need to do to speak to someone who doesn't even speak English or speak your language. It doesn't take much effort. I think I probably put in maybe 40 hours on Duolingo, and I feel that my level of Bahasa Indonesia is good enough, as I said, to communicate, say what I want to say, and really get by, that I could even go outside Bali, travel to some random province, and still be able to communicate. You know, I'm not going to have necessarily an intellectual conversation with somebody, but I am going to be able to tell them what I need, where I want to go. You know, I need a toothbrush. Saya perlu satu sikat gigi. Is that right, Elga? Okay, see, just making sure that my Indonesian is still good enough. You know, but I have like, you know, and the longer that you're here too, if you have a foundation, which Duolingo will give you, you can build on that, because you start talking to people and then you ask them, oh, what does this word mean? And it's a very easy language to learn, very simple. The pronunciation is simple. Duolingo is really a worthwhile investment. I think for $50 or $60 for the year, you get the premium version, no ads, and to learn a new language and to really be able to integrate here, you should know Indonesian. I feel, as a general rule, whenever you go to a new country, it's respectful to make an effort to learn as much of that local language as possible. When I was living in Mexico, I arrived in Mexico, I didn't speak any Spanish. I took classes. By the time I left Mexico, I was pretty fluent in Spanish. So Indonesian is easier than Spanish. You have no excuse. Download Duolingo. Okay, you guys, you need to get a trusted visa agent. This is so important because I've heard a lot of stories about bule/foreigners getting scammed because they think that they're getting a good deal on either their visa extension or a Kitas processing or whatever. Don't go with whoever is the cheapest. You need to do your research. Find out firsthand a referral from someone who's really good, because there are a lot of people who will take advantage of you, who will literally hold you ransom. Because once you give them your passport, if then you have overstayed your visa, the penalty is 1 million rupiah per day. That can rack up, and then these people will say, well, we're not going to give you your passport back unless you give us this amount of money. Your visa agent is your person that will go to the immigration office on your behalf, will make sure that you're up to date and you're current on everything that you need to be current on. So it is very important that you find someone that you can trust. And especially if you are doing a Kitas, if you have a business here, you really also want to make sure that you have a good accountant and someone in general that is going to be your advocate for any kinds of things that come up, you know. And I'm dealing with something right now too where it's just, I realize, thank God that I have these people that are on my team and able to help me through the labyrinthian and Kafkaesque process of the bureaucratic system that is doing things in Indonesia. Use Tokopedia. So I use Tokopedia for buying literally everything. I barely even leave my house anymore, obviously with this situation as well, but it's been like that for a long time. Tokopedia is basically a worse version of Amazon. So it's online shopping, but you can find pretty much everything and anything that you would want there. And the more you buy, the more benefits you get, like free shipping and discounts and this and that. I've actually become a Diamond member recently, which reveals kind of the level of my shopping addiction, because according to Tokopedia, I'm in the top 1% of all of Indonesian people that shop on Tokopedia. That's how much I buy. Basically, it's also really useful because everything in Bali is more expensive than in other parts of the country, where like usually it's at least 30% more expensive. So for example, avoid Ace Hardware. Everything there is super overpriced. Let's say you just wanted to buy, I mean, literally anything. Like anything on Tokopedia is going to be cheaper than it would be in a physical store here. And what some people what some sneaky store owners even do is they buy stuff online from like Tokopedia or their competitor Shopee, and then they resell it in their physical store at a markup because they think that foreigners are too dumb to use Tokopedia. But if you have an Indonesian bank account, or even if you don't actually, because for the first year that I was using Tokopedia, I would go to an Indomaret it's called, and pay with either cash or a credit card at the counter to pay for my Tokopedia purchases. So Tokopedia knows that there are people here that don't necessarily have like traditional banking, and they make it very easy for you to pay for your items. And I have never had any problem really with anything I've bought. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna get scammed because I'm buying something online. No, you can buy anything. I mean, I've bought really expensive stuff. I just the other day bought a TV from Tokopedia. It actually came from within Bali, but because I bought it on Tokopedia, I got cash back. So just it's really beneficial. Like, I am obsessed with Tokopedia. I think 50% of the things in my house now and in my life that I use come from Tokopedia, and if it wasn't for Tokopedia, I would be very, very limited in Bali with the types of things that I could even access or buy. For just about anything here, you guys are gonna wanna join the Expat Facebook groups. There's a bunch of different ones, so I'm not gonna name specific ones. It also kind of depends on what area of Bali you're living in, because for example, there's Canggu expat groups, and then there's expat groups for people who live in different neighborhoods, and then there's just overall Bali expat groups. But these expat groups are really your lifeline for any kind of question you may have pertaining to whatever it is that you might wanna know at that point. They're also really good leads in order to find your home. I found this home that I'm living in, and actually every home that I've lived in Bali, through the Facebook group. So there's also groups specifically related to Bali housing. And Facebook, even though as outdated as it is and as much as we all hate it, is still the #1 place to get information that you need to really survive and to interconnect and maybe even meet people here. You need to have health insurance when you come to Bali, whether it's as a short-term stay or long-term. I did an entire video about this. Hello, I am first-hand witness now, literally first-hand witness to the problems that can happen here, the accidents that can happen. Again, what I thought was a minor cut ended up costing over $7,000, required surgery under general anesthesia. Thank God that I do have health insurance here. There are great options if you're an expat that are not very expensive and that can cover you for emergency and accidental things. You can watch my other video if you want to go into that in detail, but again, it's just so important. Do not think for a minute, you know, that nothing can happen to you here. It is a dangerous place. In the rainy season, the roads are bad. I already talked all about it. If you want to know more about health insurance, watch that other video. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you if you've watched all the way to the end. I hope I've given you some helpful advice for when you get to Bali and when these crazy borders open. I will see you here. Until the next time, guys, take care.